Well, hello there. Welcome. It is what's the date today? 29th of May. It's almost summer. The first day of summer is 1st of June apparently, or something like that. Anyway, it's almost summer. It's almost here. It feels like summer because I don't know about you guys, but certainly here in the UK and Europe, we've been sitting under what they call a heat dome, and it's been rather warm. Thankfully, it's not as warm as it was last weekend, which got up to like 35, I think, here. But if you hear fans in the background, that's why, and I'm not turning them off. Otherwise, I'll have to take clothes off, and you don't want that. It is episode, and I can't do this. I was never able to do this. 3, 2, 1. Wasn't that how he did it? Or which way around? Ted Rogers. There was a game show 3, 2, 1 for those of us old enough to remember that. But I can't do that hand thing. But here we are, episode 321, 29th of May, and we've got a great show for you. We've got some really special guests to talk to. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're well. And before we do anything else, let's just remind everyone, first of all, if you haven't already, give us a like. Give us a thumbs up if you would. During the show apparently makes it even better, so it has more power. So please do press that thumbs up button. But of course, if you don't like us, hit the thumbs down. We're happy with that. It's fine. It's not a problem. It's all engagement, baby. If you want to make a comment during the show, you can. Depending on the platform you're on, there are different facilities. So with YouTube and Twitch, there's live chat that sits around the side of the screen, or if you're watching on Facebook Live, you can comment underneath, and we'll see all of those comments come through. So if you have anything to say, including questions for us or our guests, then please put those in there. And if you're going to ask a question, it'd be very handy if you could put a big capital Q at the front of it, and make sure you put a question mark at the end, and that just helps the system identify it and stick it in the right place. So that's how you do that. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It really does help us get out there, and it just gives us a little boost, a little fillip, to know that we are being appreciated out there as much as we appreciate you. And if you know someone who doesn't already watch this show and you think they might like it, then do share us around. We're absolutely fine with that. We are community funded. We are for the community, by the community, and therefore we rely heavily on your support. And so many of you do already, and we are super grateful and thankful for that. But if you want to support us in any way, this is probably the best way to do it, through our Patreon page. There's the link on the screen, prosynthnetwork.com/Patreon. You can go to our Patreon page and subscribe for a minimum $2 per month, and for that you get access to a veritable smorgasbord of delights, including patches for your software synthesizers, your hardware synthesizers. There's decent sampler instruments in there. There's video content, exclusive video content, ad-free video content, lots of things, and it's always growing. And we are super grateful to many of our watchers for sending in their patch banks for us to give away in there. So if you want access to that, there's the web address. It's also a link in the description down below. The other thing that you can do is maybe buy some merchandise, t-shirts, shorts, sweatshirts. Obviously, this is probably not the weather for that kind of stuff. We do swimsuits, by the way, and we do like kind of neckerchiefs, handkerchiefs. So if you want to go to the beach, you can put one of those on your head to keep the sun off, or around your neck maybe, or however you want to wear it. Or you can get one of these amazing like thermal flasks that you can put hot or cold stuff in, and it keeps it hot or cold, and they're really cool. Takes a lot. It's about, I think it's a 32 ouncer. So yeah, it's a big one, and I have one of those here every week. It keeps me lubricated during the show. So yeah, you can get lots of stuff there. We're able to take a few pennies off the top of that, so that's very useful and helpful. If you want to talk to fellow ProSynth networkers during the week, you can do so here at the Discord channel. There's lots of places there, lots of different channels for you to post your comments, your music, links to things you find interesting. If you think there's something we ought to know about, you can post that in there as well. We are always looking in there. But of course, you can also find us on most of the decent social media places, such as YouTube, Facebook, which is where we primarily hang out during the week, but we're also on Blue Sky, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, and bizarrely TikTok still. I don't know why, but we are there, and the handle across all of those channels is at ProSynth Network. So if you like to hang out on some of those channels, then do add us to your list, or follow us, or give us a like, or whatever it is that you do over at that platform. So thank you very much indeed. Right, let's see. We're down a couple of people today from our regular panel. So Andrew is otherwise engaged, and I think Scott was on a slightly boozy brunch that turned into a little bit more boozy lunch that has kind of overextended into dinner as well. So he's a little bit worse for the wear, I think. And so he's just, he very politely said, I think I'll give this one a miss. I quite frankly would have quite enjoyed a drunk Scott on the show. It's always good fun. But anyway, hope Scott and Andy are fine. Hopefully they'll be back next week. But we have two really cool guests. One who's been here before, one who hasn't, but we wished he had because he's a super interesting guy. He's a very cool bloke. Well, more on that in just a moment. But let's bring in some of our panel. Let's bring in, first of all, Mr. Kent Spong, who I only saw about an hour and 45 minutes ago. Nice to see you've changed, sir. You haven't turned your microphone on, so I'll carry on talking while you get your act together.
My entire mixer.
There you go.
Because I've just turned the mixer on and it automatically shuts.
Nothing like being prepared.
And I'm not.
And that's nothing like it, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes. But yeah, hello. From an hour and a half ago.
From an hour and a half ago. Yeah. Been spending most of the day outside in your Mustang fitting the roof.
We have. Yes. Or as headliner, as they call them in the States.
Headliner. Yes, headliner, yes.
Was it trunk, boot, bonnet hood?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Have the dogs calmed down? Is Charlie back from his pedicure?
Charlie's back from his pedicure, and there is a lot of destroyed grass all over the back garden.
Oh, that's good. At least he's eating it.
No, it wasn't. It was Lily.
Oh, it was Lily that did it.
And all she did was just ripped it all up and distributed it all over the garden.
There you
go. So there you go.
Nice one. All well, though?
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Knackered after 2 days of fighting that headliner.
Yes, I bet. In this weather as well.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, good to see you, as always. Let's bring in our next member of the panel. He's in his back garden, which seems to be his regular place of employment now. You need to turn your microphone on. You're a little muted. There he is.
I was just doing that, just being silly. Good evening.
How are you?
It's summer, isn't it? That's blue.
I know.
This is green. It's next to a router now, because I've done that. I've got a place for,
you've got drum machines.
Objet d'art.
On a toadstool.
And the cats like it, so...
Brilliant.
Cheers. It's summer, right?
Indeed. Cheers indeed. How are you? Have you been well?
I've been well, yeah. Half term this week, so I've been sort of sorting stuff out in the day job. Lots of stuff sorting out in the studio and getting prepared for my first moto synth adventure this weekend. I'm doing it. I'm going to go out in the countryside with my modular and some cameras and just see if it all works.
That sounds interesting.
It might not.
Yeah.
But I'm filming the ride as well, so it's going to be everything motorcycle and synthesizers and countryside. No cats though.
Yeah, so that's the downside.
I'm sure that will be a thing.
Can't you get one of those backpacks and stick them on?
Oh, can you imagine? Jackson would be I mean, he would be fine. Tom, no.
Tom, not
no
so
way.
much. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh well. Never mind.
But,
I look forward to seeing that. That should be interesting.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Definitely.
Get Jervis is the name of the channel, so go and subscribe to that, and you'll find it over there. Yeah, it's in the corner.
I'll
good
be
to see you,
doing
mate.
Stuff on Instagram as well.
Yes, indeed.
Right,
let's bring in our guests. So one of these guests has been on before a number of times. We love to have him. He's always a very busy man, so we like to be able to nail him down. It is the one and only Mr. Kim Bjorn. Hi, Kim.
Yay.
Hey. How you doing?
Fine, thanks.
Good.
You make me sound more busy than I probably am, but that's fine.
I don't know, because you're here, there, and everywhere. I mean, obviously we passed each other. Well, we sat with each other for a number of hours in Berlin just a few weeks ago.
Yes, indeed.
Have you managed to recover from that? Because I know it's a busy few days.
It always takes a bit, but my throat is getting back to normal somewhat. But
cool.
Yeah, more recovering from all the gear, that's and all the hucks. But it was a wonderful time there.
It's an overwhelming experience, but a nice overwhelming experience, isn't it?
Definitely.
And you sold out? Did you sell out of every book that you took there?
Yeah, actually we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're allowed to sell, and it's merchandise, and people love to get a good offer on the books and say hi to us, and we love to meet our readers and you guys, and it's a lovely time. I love it.
It's become your stand has become this kind of focal point for the community, because it's like where all the cool people kind of congregate and meet us. I'll meet you back at the Bjooks stand. It's always there, and you've got
the stairs.
Yeah, it's just by the stairs. You're in the main foyer. It's a real focal point, and I think it's become this thing where everybody just says, we'll meet by the Bjooks stand. It's a cool place to hang with cool people.
Yeah. We have the Bob Moog Foundation, Michelle. There, and we have Dina from the Art Foundation. So that's it's great, and everybody says hi, and it's lovely.
Yeah, it's a good place. It's a good place.
It was great to have you guys there too.
Yeah, no, we were more than happy to come and see you, and it was great. We obviously we spoke about a lot of stuff, and it was always great to catch up, as it always is. But we are here to talk about a brand new publication, which we'll get into a little bit more. But let me first bring in the person who you got to write this thing. I couldn't think of anyone better to do this than this gentleman here. I've known him for a few years. I stood in front of his backdrops about, 4 or 5 years ago at Synthfest UK. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this at the time. I just thought these are wonderful drawings, and they were drawings of vintage synthesizers, which ended up in a book, which is a fantastic book with loads of descriptions about these things. He's a journalist, he's a musician, he's a super cool guy. His name is Oli Freke. Welcome to the show, Oli.
Hello, thank you for that lovely welcome. It's very kind of you.
No, thank you for coming on. It's great to see you here. How have you been?
Very well, thank you. As ever, as everyone else, somewhat hot. You can see the sun is still reflecting off all the stuff. Probably in sunlight. Should probably do something about that. So, but hello.
Good stuff. Now I'll bring it up and get it out of the way. We won't discuss it anymore. But there was a bit of a mishap at Super Booth.
Oh. Yes.
Because you were scheduled to be there. This was going to be the big launch of the book, and unfortunately, bureaucracy and red tape had other ideas.
Well, it seems extraordinary. You can have a passport with an expiry date that says September 2026, and you're there in May 26, and they tell you that the expiry date is not valid, and in fact it expired 6 months before. Just one of those Brexit bonuses that we hear so much about. I had no idea that they changed the rule.
Crazy.
But the main point is, I was really disappointed because we were there to launch the Kickstarter for the book, as I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute, and didn't get to catch up with you guys, didn't see Kim and Mike and Dina and Diana and everyone. So very disappointed about that. But there's nothing when you're at the boarding gate and the lady's saying, "Computer says no." You're like, well, you can't really kick off, can you? You just have to accept it and go. Yeah,
that must have been. We were gutted. When we heard the news come through, I can't imagine what it must have felt like for you.
It was just I think you can't think about it too much. You have to say, well, that was disappointing, and go back and continue working on the book, which is what I did. I
absolutely, and there's always next year. So
it was all planned.
We will make sure that we make up for it in 2027. For sure. Well, we've got, a lovely room of people here to talk with and talk about drum machines, because the new book that I'm sure you're all aware of, because we've been talking about it, is Beat Gems, which is going to be available very soon. It's currently in the Kickstarter phase. It has 9 days to go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of that page right now. So that's at 17 minutes past 7. I'm going to ask everyone that's watching, if you haven't already backed this project, if not, why not? But go and do so now. Even if you don't want to buy the book, there is an option to just make a pledge of any amount of money just to support it. So every euro helps. So you can do that if you want to, but there are some really great selections available. There's some decent prices. You can have your name printed in the book if you want. There's a special VIP version of that, although I think that might have, I don't know if that's all gone out. They all seem to be blanked out there, but maybe that's just me because I've already backed the project. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about the book in just a moment, but why don't we just have a quick look at the trailer, because that's always a good thing to do. There we go. Beat Gems. I was trying to count how many drum machines. I lost it about halfway through. There is going to be a heck of a lot of stuff in there. So let's get to talking about this book and where it all started. So we'll come to you first, Kim, if we can. Beat Gems. Obviously, you had Synth Gems before this, so you can see where the name kind of emerged from. But how long have you been thinking about doing a book just about drum machines?
All my life. No. I think it came while we did Synth Gems. It's a little bit like when I did Push Turn Move, I got the idea for Patch and Tweak. The ideas feed off each other. But I also have to say that, when it really got real for me was actually when I met Oli at the dinner after Synthfest in Sheffield a few years back, I think 2 years back or 2.5 years or something like that. So because I've
24, I think.
Obviously been following his work for a bit, and I have a habit of trying to find some people that know more about stuff than me, which a lot of people does. and also, so we hit it off with a good conversation, and I just got that we should do this, And then it took a bit, obviously, but but I think drum machines. I mean, I got my own TR-505 back when I was like, I don't know, 16 or so, maybe.
Yeah.
And I've always loved drum machines, and they have another thing to them, obviously, than synthesizers. They are maybe more limited, but then again, more explorative in many ways that I have, now seen also with all the stuff that Oli has, dug out, that there's so much to it that is so cool and interesting. So it's for me, as every book we do in Bjooks, it's like, it's really something I want myself to have on my shelf and on my desk. So I'm really looking forward to us finishing this up.
Absolutely. Because the drum machine was kind of the first piece of electronic music technology that really did promise or deliver the promise of replacing an entire profession. Because with synthesizers, it was just another tool with a keyboard. But a drum machine, drum machines came along, and all of a sudden we're considering that horrible thing of replacing an actual drummer with a machine instead. I mean, it was quite a culture shock at the time when they really kicked off, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I know that Oli has a lot of research on that and some interesting things to say about that. But to be honest, for me, it was also, and I think for maybe quite a bit of us, it was this different way of drumming that suddenly appeared. These new sounds. And the new rhythms that came from that. I think that was, the gated snare drum in the 80s, and we all know different things and have, remember this stuff. And for me, the same with synth sounds, the new strange sounds at that time. Where did they come from? How were they made? Drum machines have that same weird place between something human and then something very machiney.
Yeah.
As I see it,
absolutely.
But I know Oli has some interesting things on this topic. Replacing the drummer.
Because drum machines came along, and drum synthesizers were kind of the first things. They were making electronic versions of drum sounds, and then we were able to program them and sequence them, and then we started. The drum sounds started going from being these kind of novelty sounds that weren't like anything else we could produce acoustically to then with samples. Now we're actually sounding like real drums. It was a real kind of shift in a very short space of time. But I'm just kind of yammering on here. The expert in the room is Oli Freke. So how did you begin to approach the topic of drum machines? Because they've been around for ages. They've been controversial. They've been incredibly influential. So where did you start with this?
Wow, that's a good question. I'd already covered some of the subjects in the previous books and focused and done the illustrations for some of the sort of more famous of the drum machines that you'd expect. But as Kim says, I did a presentation at Synthfest with Michael Edie, where he's got a fantastic collection and really got into the subject at that point because he's got it's a Sideman, the one from 1959, the first actual, what we might call a modern drum machine. As well as plenty of other really interesting things. And that, like anything, as soon as you start digging, you find out every single machine has got a fascinating story. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny little budget machine that no one's heard of, or the most famous 808s and 909s that everyone's heard of. And even there, you can find things that may not be widely known, and also an opportunity to sort of correct some of the, not myths exactly, but things get repeated, and it's really good to go, everyone says that about the 808s. Is that actually true? And sometimes it is, and sometimes you can refine it slightly. So I think it was just a case of, right, had that chat with Kim at the Synthfest meal, and we were kicking around the idea of the book, which I was bang up for because it's absolutely fascinating stuff. And then collecting the stories, not just the technology, because the technology is fascinating. You sort of touched on how drum synthesis began, but there's also the cultural aspect, I think, is absolutely fascinating and central, because it's to make music. We must never lose sight of the fact that all this great stuff is to make music. And I think that's what's really interesting about drum machines. They came from a different place. Synths were historically, the 20th century, oscillators and the Cologne laboratories with Stockhausen and Pierre Schaeffer doing his stuff in the 40s in Paris, and all of that tonal research and sound. And then there's a bunch of people over here who just wanted to replace their drummer when they're doing a gig at a lounge. So they made a little drum machine beatbox for an organist. Completely different source of. They've converged now. We think about them, but they had a totally different origin. And as soon as you start thinking about that stuff, it's hard to stop, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, the concept of a rhythm machine, or a machine that can deliver some sort of beat to play along with, goes way back. I mean, you mentioned people in the 40s, but what was the earliest example of a drum machine that you came across in your research?
I feel very strongly that it's the Wurlitzer Sideman from 1959, because it was explicitly trying to sound like a drummer for a start. There were some earlier experiments. People mentioned the Rhythmicon, which was actually a theremin invention in the 1930s, which did interesting rhythmic things. But the Wurlitzer Sideman had drums, recognizable drums. It was trying to be a drum, and it had preset rhythms. So you have that combination that you mentioned just there about, you've got a drum synthesizer or something that's emulating drums, and you've got a sequencer basically that is playing a drum beat. And I think that was pretty much the earliest example. But fascinatingly, it has a mechanical wheel, because it's making jukeboxes. So they've got this this sweeping wheel that goes around in a circle, and there are contacts, and the contacts are arranged so that they trigger at the right time to create a rhythm. And it's got buttons on the top as well to trigger the drums, so you could play drum and bass on it if you wanted in 2026. It's a drum thing.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
So kind of like a musical box, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sort of the Tynes, an electronic version of that.
Yeah.
What a fantastic mechanical solution to the problem. Like, mind blown, really.
Wish it was the size of a musical box.
Yeah.
Big old. Only because it had a speakers, had decent 12-inch speakers in it, and an amp, so because it was designed for performance, to replace drummers, I'm afraid to say.
I've got one in the famous garage. I've got one.
Yeah.
Have you? Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
It's not in great.
It doesn't
nick,
work, and it's actually destined to go into a skip within the next 10 days if nobody comes and collects it.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, I think there's
You in this 10-day limit on your skip.
I know.
So I mean, this was a machine. Obviously, it's in the 50s. How was it generating its tones? Was it purely analog? Was it what was going on inside?
It's valves.
It's all valves.
I think
Love it.
there were two sounds coming off each valve, and I think Michael might even be on the call. He can put in the comments if he remembers. The triodes. So there's like 6 triodes, 2 sounds each. There's a wonderfully named shimmer circuit that does does the cymbals. I mean, it's everything about it. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you had one, didn't you, at your Synthfest talk? Yeah. So if anybody wants to go and see it, it's on the Sound on Sound channel.
There's no circuit board. There's no circuit board as such. Everything is supported in the wire circuit, like a spider's web almost.
Yeah,
quite bizarre. And then there's a plate at the bottom with the power supply in that, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing that turned round, it's this really complicated nest of wires. It's about a foot tall, just wires coming out everywhere.
Yeah.
They really wanted to build it. It was really difficult, clearly.
Yeah. But this was the start, where people were exploring making percussion and drum sounds to mostly accompany, organs and that kind of thing, either in the home or on stage. when did we start to see the emergence of? I mean, we all know, where the programmable drum machines started coming in. But where did we see that kind of leap from the home organ to maybe a practical studio instrument that could be used in popular music? I mean, where did that? Who were the people that were doing that?
It's a great question. I think for the most of the 60s, it was just organ presets in the early 70s. But I do have a sort of theme in the book of people misusing those machines because they just wanted to make music with them. So before you get to the sort of more professional units, you have people like Suicide, who were, and some of the krautrock guys like Cluster and Harmonia, who were taking those organ presets and just running it through distortion and delay and chorusing just to sort of as a sound source more than, hey, let's have a bossa nova and sort of wiggle to it. So it's kind of this kind of theme of deliberately misusing what their actual purpose is, which I think is fascinating. But I think it's the 70s when you've got Jean-Michel Jarre, of course, with his Oxygen Equinox albums, using the famous KO Mini Pop 7 for the classic. Yeah. And I think that was the start of actual musicians, well, I say actual, everyone's a musician who's using it, but professional recording artists who want to make use of those sounds on their recordings. I think that's where it was really beginning to see what was possible with the preset machines and doing what they could as a rhythm source, not just distorting the sound, but trying to say, okay, got some rhythms, we'll press 2 buttons at once and it'll become something that we like and can work with artistically. I think that was the start of the transition.
Because I was going to say that, with Jarre, his famous kind of patterns were like 2 patterns pressed together that were triggering at the same time. You also had people like Pete Townsend using this marimba preset, but using it to trigger his Lowry organ, but it was kind of that misuse of these drum units that started to see some sort of popularization.
Yeah, and I think Depeche Mode, by the sort of late 70s, the synth pop scene were like, we'll just have to use these things because we want to make electronic music and want to make electro pop and we want to, and they like the sounds, but they were still trying to work within the confines of these bloody presets that, the samba and the bossa nova and the cha-cha, which are not really, it's ironic that the synth pop was like, we want to be the future, and yet they were trying to work with sort of 60s rhythms and technology and out of date, very uncool genres.
And because a lot of them started off recording their drum patterns onto tape and then just playing the tape on stage rather than actually having the drum machine there.
This is the DR55 that the Depeche Mode did that exact, well, not that exact unit, of course, but they recorded their DR55 on tape because they couldn't predict the tempo it would come out at and just needed that sort of reliability. So people were really pushing against what was possible, but then, that's what they had available, and creative people do what creative people do, don't they?
Absolutely. That was actually the first ever drum machine I got hands-on with. I had a friend whose band I went on to join, and I replaced their drum machine, but we'll talk about that later. I was the opposite. But he had one of those, and he would just play along in his bedroom with that. And he said, there you go, have a mess around with that. And that was kind of my first experience of a drum machine and playing around with it.
Not a nice thing to program, is it?
No, it wasn't.
Not a nice thing to program at all.
But it was
famously, DR55 famously was Sisters of Mercy's first drummer.
That's right.
Dr. Avalanche. That's where he gets his name from. So but soon became an Oberheim DMX.
I was talking to Robin Guthrie of Cocktail Twins. He said he had one of these for about 3 weeks before he realised it was programmable. That's how hard it was to program.
Yeah, indeed. We'll come back to sort of like the history of these machines and some of our favourites and stuff. But Kim, I know that you've got a massive design background. You're very good, hot on the visuals kind of thing, and you must have had an absolute field day getting pictures of some, because drum machine, I don't know, is it me, but drum machines have a certain allure to them. They're kind of compact, they have buttons, there's a physicality to them. So tell us about your processing in getting the pictures for Beat Gems, and did you have any sort of interesting stories?
Well, I think the most interesting is maybe most of them are shot at SMEM in Switzerland, in Europe, and also Synthorama. That's and the most interesting thing is maybe that the guys at SMEM, they just gave me the key, and I had a week I could enjoy myself and go. I could even sleep among the drum machines if I wanted to. So I just had so much, and sometimes I had to, how to say, just pinch myself and say, okay, I'm actually among all these amazing machines. Now let's get it done. But I totally get what you're saying, that the design of them is so, these little silver boxes or wooden boxes with colors. Design wise, there's so much to love about drum machines.
Yeah.
And they don't have the, how can you say, synthesizers with the black and white keys. I love synthesizers who don't have black and white keys, actually. They take up so much real estate, which is so boring if you're not a keyboard player.
Yeah.
So, but drum machines, they're like, also when you see the 606 and all that stuff, that you could just pack it and strap around your shoulder and go to a gig. I mean, there was so much portability, and except for the Sideman, of course. But I think actually, and with the Sideman, that was at Synthorama, and I got to lift the lid off, the whole case, and I photographed the inside of it also. On the side. So we're trying to get as close to these things as possible. And we do as with Synth. I actually have Synth right here in a pre-version back from the day.
Yes.
But I used colored backgrounds on some of these because I think, I really truly believe also, drum machines also color the music, and they are colorful. Some of them are just black boxes, but not as much as with synthesizers actually. So I think, and we obviously know the iconic colors of the 808, and funnily enough, we chose the 909 on the cover because that's very recognizable. But then I opted for a more unusual angle because of exactly the design of it, because it's so cool that it's like ergonomic. It has this tilted front panel and all that, and it could just as well has been designed this year, I guess.
Yeah, great.
And I think
timeless design.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting is actually there was a lot of new drum machines at Super Booth, and and when we had the 808 at the 909 there, and also an SP 1200, and they attracted people like honey for bees or whatever. They were just on them, and we had even people bowing to the 909. It was like, is that not a Behringer? Is that an original? They were like, So that was super cool. Also because they have this, the 909 is big, and even the 808 also, and they had this weight to them. You can imagine people banging out beats, and when you see someone like Jeff Mills with the 909 on his DVD, there's musicianship to this also. It's not just programming beats; it's actually playing beats, and it's So I think there's so many. And then you have the 80s colors, the cork boxes, right? The neon colors and all that. And so there's so many wonderful small surprises also, I think, with the way that people have chosen to do these things. As you say, when you open up the Sideman, as Oli described, this nest of wires and the plate and all that is just like, how could they even think to do this?
Yeah. I guess it's right what you say about the difference between the design of drum machines and the design of keyboard synthesizers, for example. That once you don't have to worry about the keyboard, you can kind of go a bit wild and crazy with the design of a drum machine, because there's no we're very used to the what's known as the XOX 16-step thing that Roland introduced, but you don't have to do that. And a lot of drum machines don't do that, and the design is a lot more free, isn't it, to kind of explore how to interact with these things.
I love how many different solutions to the same kind of problem there is. If you just want to program a beat, how many different ways of triggering a drum there are, and how many different ways there are to think about it. You mentioned the Roland TRX system, but I love the way that a lot of the American manufacturers, Oppenheim and Lynn, and I think of, they seem to be working in the sort of the LA space where you had session drummers who could bang out a beat. So they didn't bother with like really easy, intuitive ways of programming step time. They were just like, well, it's going to play in real time. It's going to be great. Do that. So I think there's a different approach. It's about the workflow. And I think that's why the 808, well, partly why the 808 909 was successful, because they allowed producers to program beats. You didn't have to be a trained drummer to be able to do it in the way that some of these, like the DX there, you needed to actually play, albeit you had quantizers. But yeah, all these different solutions and different ways of thinking about it.
Yeah,
it's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, there's some amazing designs, and I can't wait to see. I mean, we saw some pages at Superbooth. You had some pages in the folder of early layouts and stuff, and it's going to be. I mean, I guess if you're familiar with Synth Gem, this is going to be pretty much the same, with loads of amazing pictures and then the histories, but also as Oli, you were saying, a look into the reasons why we do things like this, and some of those kind of truths and myths, and busting some of those. And what was your favorite bit about writing this? Was it about exploring the machines or the mythology behind some of those machines and the people that use them?
Yeah, wow, yeah. I think it's sort of an intersection of them all. I think how the technology supported artists who then created culture. I think one of the most fascinating stories or through lines is the way they started. They initially were built to reproduce the dance music of the day, which was the cha-cha-cha and the bossa nova. And as lame and sort of hackneyed to our ears it sounds today, that was the cool stuff back in the 50s. But they went on this journey where they actually stimulated new genres and became the foundation of whole new electronic music styles that just weren't possible before. And I think that, for me, is the whole story of drum machines, how they started out by trying to emulate something and then becoming the catalyst and the foundation and the creation of new styles of music that we couldn't have imagined without them.
Yeah,
so I think that's...
Because we often get synthesizers, don't we, that are associated with a particular genre. One that's instantly spring to mind is the JP8000 is kind of known as kind of the trance machine, because some of the sounds. But with drum machines, it's a completely different thing, and it's even more. There are even more of these machines that do set trends, because the 808 and the 909, respectively, are the just like the foundational stones of at least 2 or 3 major music genres that still exist to this day. The Akai MPC, which of course came out of the Lin line of things, again, just foundational for a whole sort of genre of music. They're pretty important things, aren't they, these drum machines?
Sort of back to that workflow thing, like the MPC was more about the way you could create music through uses of using samples, and it was a surprise to Roger Lynn that people would, and Animi, who made the SP1200, which was similarly important to hip hop, that people would sample more than just a drum beat. They didn't think anyone would, but now you're sampling fragments of actual music and full drum loops, and they're like, oh, didn't think you would do that. But it's like the machine is suggesting you do that, and this is the music that happens if you take that idea to its logical conclusion. And so and you get a whole new way of thinking about putting music together.
I want to come back in just a moment and talk. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Just sort of you touched on it before you went off, but making the album Duke by Genesis is really hard to imagine without the CR78. It's so much a part of that album, and of course from that point on Phil Collins took on his solo stuff, but it's not really been featured heavily elsewhere. So when you hear these kind of albums that have got 808, 909, the SP1200 sort of crunchiness, they're kind of a little bit more sort of obvious. I mean, the 78 is such a massive sounding sort of, it does hark to those organ sounds, the organ top drum machine. So I think that's kind of interesting that it became such a, Turn It On Again and all those kind of classic hits from 78. I mean, amazing. It
was a very transitional drum machine, wasn't it? Because it did kind of have its foot in the organ top
in
box,
the organ top,
but then became, because it was programmable.
You can program it. Yeah,
absolutely.
It was Roland the.
No, you can't. Have you ever tried to put a rhythm into a CR78?
Not personally, but I know people what have. So.
Well, it's more luck than judgment. Bloody thing.
Listen, I want to come back and talk about particular. Drum machines and their lineage and stuff, but I want to just give us everybody a break. We've been doing this new thing where we've been playing our viewers' music, and we've had people send in some amazing pieces of music, and we've got 2 or 3 that we hope to get in this show. This first one we're going to play is, I believe, the artist's first ever kind of attempt at doing a piece of music and a video and putting it out there. So
nice.
Thank you ever so much for letting us play it. You know him in the chat as Prometheus UK. This is a piece of music that he put together along with a video, and it's called Eastern Promise. Have a listen to this. There you go, Prometheus, everyone.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff.
Nice little piece of music there, using a Roland TR-8 for the drum machine, which was very
handy. Created by a human.
Indeed, yes. No doors were harmed in the making of that music. Brilliant stuff. If you want to send in your tracks, please do. It's very helpful if you can put some video content on there as well. Obviously, keep it copyright free. And make sure that your music isn't going to get us into any trouble with YouTube copyright bots. But send it in, rob@prosynthnetwork.com. If you want to use a file transfer service, if the file is too big, then just use something like WeTransfer or Swiss Transfer is probably a better one for bigger files. But please do send it in. We will play it at some point. We've got a couple more. Hopefully we'll squeeze in before the end of the show. If we don't manage to do that, we'll obviously roll it on to next week. So keep sending your music in. Right, drum machines, that's what we're talking about. Of course, we're talking about Beat Gems, which is available to pre-order or kickstart back now. There are 9 more days to go. Let's just refresh that screen. Let's see if we've managed to squeeze any more juice out of there. Not just yet. Come on, guys, let's have some backers. What did we have? I think we.
Oh, it's 6.9 to start with. I think that's gone up.
Oh, have we gone up? We've gone up a little bit. Let me just bring in the image that we had. So, where's my button for it?
Thank you guys very much.
Let's bring this in. Where did I save it? There it is. Right. Bring this on the screen. Nice to hear the birds out there. Yes, we have. Oh, we have gone up by 250 pounds. So that's good. Excellent stuff. We've got to say 9 more days to go on that. So please do keep backing it. It's going to be an amazing book, as all of Kim's publications are. What is this, Kim? Now, is this your 8th?
Yeah, this is actually the 9th book.
9th book.
Yeah. Cool. Very fitting with the 909 on the cover, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah. Did you think was that planned?
No, not really. Bjooks wasn't planned at all.
No. I mean, very quick. I mean, Bjooks has become synonymous with quality publications about the electronic music ecosystem. It covers everything from modular to keyboards to drum machines now. You must be really happy with how it's going, because you are just, everyone talks about your companies being they're the guys that make the best books about synth.
Yeah, it's both heartwarming and we're humbled by it and full of gratitude, because it's at Super Booth, when people come up to us and say, I'm so happy about the books, or they're so inspiring, or they are at this place in my studio, and it's just it makes us all feel that we really do something of value, and that people cherish for a long time, and that's the best gift we can get. And we also get to do what we do this stuff that we like, drum machines, synthesizers, modular, whatever. But I have to say also that it may look like a big thing, Bjooks, with 9 books now, but it is not a big operation. It's
compact team,
and the team is, Mike and Diana. I couldn't do it without those 2 wonderful people also, and. So, and that's our team now, basically the editorial team, and then obviously with Oli on this book, and that's great. But the other books also, I wanted to mention that it's not just the drum machine book on the Kickstarter, but if you pledge or support us on Kickstarter, you can actually choose some of the other titles as add-ons at a very good discount, actually. So you can basically save, the amount you pledge for the actual book. If you see, that's quite 30 euros per book of the big ones here. And this is, to be honest, also something that I do because we need to also be able to reprint some of the older titles at some point. We can't do a Kickstarter on an old title, though we update the books. But I want obviously to keep these in circulation as long as possible, but people do ask, for example, Pedal Crush also, and it is hard. Times have changed since I started Bjooks back in 2017, basically. As we all know, the world is changing and things get more expensive, and for some people, this is also a luxury to have a book, a big, colorful book like this, and pay this amount of money. So that also means that I think we are all very grateful for when people actually invest their time and money. And I hear some people save up for a year for one of the books, for example. That's actually, So that makes me sometimes like, wow, okay.
I mean, they're definitely made with love. And as you say, you've got a cracking little team. It's a little team, but it's a really powerful team.
It's the best team.
Yeah, with Mike and Diana. Who are, if you go to any of these places like Superbooth or Synthfest, you're likely to meet at least one or more of these people, and you can see the love and the dedication that goes into these books. from just meeting these people, and then actually picking up the books and reading them. You know, they are brilliant little things. We'll talk more about.
They give a lot back as well. They really do. I mean, I've got a lot of them, and I'll pick one up at random, and I just sit and just get lost in it.
Yeah.
So you know, I
Right.
appreciate the feed. You know, that back as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right. Let's talk about drum machine lineage, because there have been, you know, some.
Is that a pun?
Yeah.
Is that a drum pun?
Drum pun. Yes. I mean, there's obviously the well-known ones. So we've got obviously Roland. That you can see there's a progression from the 78 and even the ones before through to the 808, the 909, the 606. And so on, and even to this day, you know, the TR8S, and now of course the Roland TR1000 is just, you can see the heritage just, you know, running through all of these things. Lynn is another one. You know, we had the LM1, then the Lynn drum, then the Lynn 9000, of course. Then following that, Akai step in and give Roger the opportunity to take it even further, and of course the MPC has just gone on to be it's just it's a staple. It's a world without an MPC is just unthinkable now these days. When you were doing the research for this book, there's kind of two fairly obvious drum machine royalty that have kind of whose invention has kind of lived on. Did you find any other kind of interesting stories or tales that, you know, sort of permeate the drum machine world that we might not be that aware of?
Oh, there are definitely several. I mean, I think it's interesting to I mean, I'm sure many people know this, but Roland and Korg made their start in drum machines in the early 60s. They were Acetone and KO at the time. I think it's fascinating that two of the current biggest, longest running electronic music firms actually did start by making drum machines. And I think that's a really interesting story. And then but who else? I mean, there's just, I mean, I've got a database of like 1,000 drum machines in it, and it's not complete. And there are just so many companies who pop up and disappear, and it's fascinating to see. I want to know why ARP never made a drum machine. If anyone could answer that would be very interesting. And
Dina, where is she?
Kind of did. Well, I have asked Dina this, and she said she'd ask, and I need to follow that one up, because I think there's sort of the anomalies are just almost as interesting as the firms that.
Did Moog ever make a? I mean, I know quite recently they did the DFAM and stuff, but back in the day, were they?
Which is great.
They made two. They made a prototype modular drum synthesizer for a composer whose name I've forgotten, and a little pad, which is quite interesting. So
of course, yes.
I think we get to feature that one, because it's like, that's a bit random. They were like making a little, Sinair type thing.
Yeah.
But there's definitely sort of, I think what's interesting lineage-wise, you've got the different countries have sort of different feelings about sort of different vibes. So you've got the Japanese companies just mentioned, made the really early start, made great use of transistors right from the start, and became very sort of efficient in manufacturing, and made loads of deals, and sort of grew their businesses to become the sort of world beaters they are today. And I think the American companies we mentioned before, your Oberheims and Sequentials, so incredibly dynamic at that time in the early 80s, just coming out with groundbreaking machines. Roger Lynn, of course, with the LM1, just changing the world, changing the face of music with their inventions, almost without meaning to, just going, we're just going to make this incredible stuff. They kind of not sort of burn out exactly, but they haven't persisted. They sort of had a great moment, nearly a decade in some cases. They're not necessarily that short, but they kind of couldn't quite keep. I think it's that sort of capitalist dynamism. It's like, build something, goes bust, doesn't matter, do another thing, keep going, make stuff, incredible. And then you got Britain, who are just like sort of garage boffins making crazy stuff like the MPC, or the movement drum percussion computer, and the MPC1.
The MPC1.
AHB make a funny little machine. There's sort of crazy one-offs that are kind of mad, kind of good. They're never going to compete with Japan and America, but give it their best shot.
I mean, I was going to say,
MPC1 had a suitcase, didn't it? So
it was like these.
What more do you want? It's like a drum pads in a suitcase. I had one of those really early in my the time was, you know, when I started playing guitar in 86, 88, a friend loaned me this thing. So I had a drum machine before I had a synth, really. And this MPC-1, incredible. I just got lost in it for hours and forget I was playing guitar.
I remember seeing an advert for one in, I think, 1-2 testing in the early 80s. You know, it was this kind of suitcase that had these 8, were they octagonal pads, but they were stretched.
Stretched.
Yeah, and so there was 8 of those, and this computer down the side, and it was just like, it looked amazing, but it was bonkers. And then, of course, like you mentioned the movement, which, you know, a lot of us remember, you know, being in the video for Sweet Dreams. You know, it's that kind of typewriter thing that Dave Stewart is bashing away at. But then they come up with the orange one, you know, with the built-in CRT screen, and I didn't realise for such a long time. So one of my favourite albums as a teenager was Thompson Twins. Well, both of the Quick Step and Psychic and Into the Gap, and I loved the drum sounds on both of those albums. And I just assumed, quite wrongly, there was probably a Lindrum. And then I get told it's this thing called the movement, which sounds a little bit, you know, biological, doesn't it? You know, I'm just going to play with my movement. Sounds a bit weird. But then they look...
if you work on one.
Well, quite, but they look bonkers. And then when you find out that particularly the second model, you know, had these cards, didn't it? And they all had samples on the cards, but you could customize those samples. And
the hilarious thing about the prototype one, or the sort of Mark 1 version, I should call it, that you see in the Eurythmics video, was that it was very much a prototype, and this is definitely the sort of Buffalo in the Garage thing. They hung the sound cards from the top of the unit, so that when vibrations got really loud in your studio, they would just fall out.
Yeah.
They corrected that for the orange.
Yeah, but I mean, I saw one of those. Were you there at you were there at the Korg event, weren't you, last year?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
In
and they've got one, haven't they?
Yeah. In the corner. It wasn't working. It was.
I know, and I really wanted to steal it. I've never really wanted to steal it, but I really wanted to steal that because I really have a thing. A, it's my favourite colour, orange, but B, it's the drum machine that was used on 2 of my all-time favourite albums, and I'd just love to have a go with it. But I've seen there's a guy who has restored 1 or 2 of them, and they are mad inside. They are just absolutely mad to kind of repair and stuff. But yeah, the British were, I mean, Dave Simmons as well, you know, I mean, with all of that stuff, it was all very, made in the back of a shed somewhere. Yeah. And then just got very popular.
I worked on it. I did a movement. Was it Daniel Miller's one?
You did a movement.
Yeah, but the thing
where we're
is,
going with this?
Working on it is very similar to that.
Really?
Because you have to be really, really careful with it. You know, it's just like
lots of fibre.
Make sure that card's in the right way. Otherwise, okay, we're in trouble now. Yeah, Powertrain were going to make a drum machine, but they went bankrupt just shortly. I think they were halfway through the development of their drum machine. It was like a rack-looking thing.
Yeah, I think Daniel Miller has got an anecdote about the movement drum computer. They got sent a prototype or a demo of it, and were like, "Oh, okay, we could load our samples into it." And then when they got them back, Daniel was like, "No, this sounds like shit."
I think I've heard Martin Gore mention something along those lines as well. Yeah.
It wasn't for everyone. Although it looked cool.
No, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Tom Bailey must have, just clicked with it. And I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Because with drum machines, they're all so, very different that you'll find one that you click with and you can do stuff with it, and others just don't get it. Just don't.
Yeah, he's a massive fan of it. I emailed him about the movement, and he still raves about it. So it was great. It was amazing with all those early 3 albums on it, and to move on to that. Like you say, it's what works.
Brilliant thing. Yeah. We've had some questions come in, so let's get rid of some of those. Before we do, I just want to mention Custom Sonics for their £3.21. Of course, that's our show number today, so thank you very much indeed. And also to Homegrown, thank you very much for your donation, much appreciated as always. If you want to do a super chat or a super sticker, of course you can do that in YouTube right now. So let's see, what have we got in the question pot here? This is a good one. What would be your desert island drum machine, Kim? What was if you were stranded on an island somewhere and you could have just one drum machine with a guaranteed power supply, either a set of headphones or speakers? What one drum machine would you like to take with you?
Oh, that's such a crazy.
It's cruel, isn't it?
Oh,
I know, but you've got to choose one.
I would choose
picked
one
one.
where I would really have a party on my own on that island.
Okay.
I would make my own pizza show, and maybe I would actually buy a used TR-707 and retrofit it with the new sound, so you can get the 808, 909 and other stuff on it, and then just have fun with that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I love the design of that one. It's also orange.
It's what? Yeah, it's one of my favourites for sure. The 7.
Yeah, the screen.
Yeah, especially I was just we were talking before during the show that there was an opportunity for me to buy one of those recently, but I had something else in my shopping basket, shall we say? But I will one day get one of those, and they've just had a replacement screen put in it, so it improves upon that kind of grey LED, or not LED. Was it? I don't know. It was kind of it was
LCD.
It was some LCD.
LCD.
Yeah. Let's ask Ollie. I mean, you've obviously got some good stuff there in there, but I mean,
I was going to give a similar answer to Kim actually, because I see your Elysis HR16 in the background there.
Sorry, that's mine.
And I thought, that's quite a good way of getting a sort of access to that vintage sound, because you can put in the Lin chips, aren't you? So I was like, get one of those, put Lin chips in, and then that would be sort of you'd be cheating to get the good sound through it. So I don't know if that's a good thing to, or take a Lin 9000 just to see the excitement. Will it work today? Or not?
I was going to say that's kind of a very
Keep you on your toes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What do you think, definitely. Kent? What's your what would be your desert island drum machine?
SR95.
Okay.
Yeah. I know I've had people say, "Oh no, well I got the mini pops because they sound better." And I looked it up. You're actually legally allowed to slap somebody when they say that. If not, CR78 that's been updated, got rid of the battery, retrofitted with MIDI, so it syncs to something on the planet other than itself, and I'd be happy.
Yeah. Fair enough. What about you, Jason?
Well, I haven't actually decided which chip I want to put in that yet. I mean, this is kind of cheating, but it's not. But truly, Jomox Alpha Bass 2.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that's it's a monster. It's huge. It's beautiful. It's got so much performability to it. I still want one.
Yeah.
No, so
yeah, that's a good one.
I'll lend you some DX chips. Take if you want.
Very nice.
There's the Yamaha one in there as well.
Excellent stuff. I'd be hard pushed. I mean, I've always had a long thing about the Lin drum. The second one. There's just it's that sound and the fact that you can tune the drums, and it just has for me that quintessential drum machine sound that I really, really do love. But
it's the time of the 80s, isn't it? Just the sound of so many great tracks.
It really is. It's just. But I might even go for like an MPC, because that would give me anything. I could just put any samples in there and mess around. But if I'm on a desert island, I might not have access to the internet to download samples and put them in. But yeah, I think the Lin drum would be my kind of desert island favourite one. One day I will.
Is the MPC actually a drum machine though?
Well, yes. It's a drum machine and more.
And no,
because it's got like a rhythm track and a sequencer track. So the rhythm.
Yeah, it's sort of like in that case, I'll have any sampler, thank you.
I'll just have a Fairlight,
Yeah, give us a fair. I have a Fairlight drum machine. I'll have that. Yeah.
Actually, I mean, Nick.
I think the original MPC.
But you're only allowed to put drum sound into it. There you go.
Yeah.
You're no
That'll
fun.
be the thing. But it has to be a vintage MPC as well, with limited RAM. So that the MPC 60 would be the ultimate one, because that was designed as a drum machine before people started sampling all sorts of other things.
1.5 seconds you had, or 2.5? I think it was.
It wasn't a huge amount, was it? But as Nick says in the chat, we mustn't forget that Page R on the Fairlight had a massive impact on drum programming, because it was on-screen programming. And Page R, the R stands for rhythm. So it was always designed to be a rhythm sequencer before, as you alluded to with other things, that people said, well, actually, I can put notes in here. And if I have 3 sounds of the same sound on 3 channels, I can start playing chords. And so it got used for all these other things. But its initial design was as a drum sequencer.
That's very interesting.
Very expensive.
That into the book. Is that all right, Kim?
Go for it. But it was, so much. If you listen to, there's so much music that uses the Fairlight Page R as its rhythm track. I mean, not least, bands like The Art of Noise, but you can tell. I mean, John Farnham's the voice. That whole bit at the beginning, it's there's some amazing stuff programmed with it, but it's a beast. And like you say, it probably wouldn't work on a desert island. Let's see, what have we got? Somebody says here, Kent, can somebody get in touch with Sam Battle, aka Look Mum No Computer, to see if he wants Kent's ancient drum machine for his museum?
Oh, he so would.
If he can't keep it original, he'd probably get a Furby to play live drums with it.
I'll tell you what, the thing is, I mean, all right, there's the Sideman out there, but there's 2 TR-808s, a TR-909, a DDD-1, a something 55, a something else. There's so much stuff out there. It's just, come and take it, Sam.
There you go. There's an open invitation.
Yeah, bring a van.
Yeah, bring a van, load it up. I'm sure he'd probably relish all of that stuff. Although I saw
my Volvo will be repaired. I'll be there.
I saw him post a video actually. Was it today? He's actually gone out and bought an SSL audio interface, and he was amazed that he literally plugged it into his computer and it worked. There was no drivers, no signing up for anything. So he is still Look Mum sort of no computer. But yeah, well done by the way, Sam. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but well done for your performance. Let's see. Here's a good question from Nick. Nick always has good questions. Which icon has written the foreword to this book? Are you able to divulge that yet?
No, we can't say that yet.
Okay.
Actually.
But it will be an icon, won't it?
We hope so. It depends on a lot.
Okay, so it hasn't been. So there we go. That we'll brush that one aside for the time being. So we've asked about your desert island ones, but again, Nick is great for the questions. For Ollie and Kim, we'll open up to the other guys as well. What is the worst drum machine with the worst sounds, in your opinion?
Oh, you got to. I guess though, for me, it's the old organ preset ones where they literally just had a for a bass drum and a for a hi hat and just the most basic analog sounds. I mean, they're not sophisticated sounds. There's one called the Baldwin Tempomatic, which is completely mad looking, and the hi hat sounds like a steam train, which is sort of cool, but it just what were they? It really. Just doesn't tick any boxes. It's not even trying to be good, and it feels a bit mean to be, rude about something old and they didn't really have the budget for. But the Baldwin story, when you read the book, is one of the maddest corporate stories I've ever read. Yeah. They basically went into Wall Street and sort of hedge fund, the equivalent of the late 70s, and then had the biggest bankruptcy of all time up to that point. They were a piano manufacturer.
Wow, yeah.
They went into financial instruments and went spectacularly bust. It's completely mad. And they made bad sounding drum machines. So what's not to love?
Yeah, absolutely. And then they did a partnership deal with Emu in the 80s to produce basically an Emax, but with the Baldwin name on.
Oh, I didn't know that. I could have written this fact down.
That's cool.
And you can pick them up on eBay. People don't really know quite what they've got, but it looks exactly like an Emax, but it says Baldwin on the top. But it's inside. Yeah. It's an Emax. Yeah.
So Kim, who made that Baldwin drum machine then?
Oh, I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Because it would have been.
Yeah.
That one was sort of 1970s. So yeah.
What's your worst?
Yeah, so it may have been Roland.
Sound, Kim. You got any particular ones you dislike?
I'm so boring on that part, but I was actually reflecting on that. But I think, when we talk about worst drum machine sounds, because I remember something Larry Hurd said when we did Push to Move. Mm-hmm. He said, you work with what you had, what you got. Yeah. And I'm thinking, imagine being at that time, and that was the 808 for him. But at that time, when you got a new drum machine and it had 16 sounds or 11 sounds or whatever, imagine that today, that we go, oh wow, it has 16 sounds and you can program it. You know, I think that, you know, we're so spoiled. So actually the limitations of these machines is becoming super interesting to people, actually, to the younger generations also, because you work with what you have, and that demands you to be much more creative than just you go into a candy store and you can select every drum sound since, you know, drum machines were invented. I mean,
Yeah.
and how boring is that, actually? You know, so I think the most boring, was it boring or worst drum machine sounds? So yes, worst drum machine sounds. I think that's the ones where you just take something that's there and don't make it your own. I know that's a boring question, but
No,
that's
no,
the answer. But
it's a fair point.
No,
No,
I
you
like
know,
the answer. It makes
to be
sense.
honest, I can make it. You know, when I got my TR-505, I was blown away. Oh, it sounds like real drums. You know, you can laugh at me, but you know,
No,
that's a
yeah.
wow.
No,
You know, but
I
then at some
remember that.
point, I got, you know, when I programmed beats, it was like, it gets a bit boring at some point, you know. And then what can you do? And then you start, and that's where we stumble upon all these amazing stories that Ollie has dug out, also the people changing stuff, and yeah, it actually, if I just may say so, it reminds me of something that Jean-Michel Jarre has said recently when he's coming out with a new book, as you might know, Machines, later this year. And I've been speaking a lot to him in regards to that book. And he said, you know, and I think he said that officially also before, that, you know, beats and, you know, drums and bass, that's what gives away, you know, the music in terms of the time it was made in. You know, if you pull out the drum sounds and the bass sound, it's much harder to kind of place it. It becomes more timeless. And I think that's actually super interesting, because we talk about the nostalgia with the DMX or the 808, and I know there are and has been genre fluctuations, but I think it's super interesting that you know, it's very much a timestamp also, and now we can blend all these, we can do time travel across the whole spectrum now in that regard, right? So I think it's interesting to see what are the new things coming out also in relation to the old stuff. What were the ideas that people really, you know, that they're picking up now and say this could be cool, like to have 4 lanes of 16 steps, like on the Perkins, for example. So I think that's super interesting. That's and then it makes you appreciate the old stuff much more, I think, because I mean, imagine what they had to deal with back then, dragging that sideman around. I mean, not in your pocket.
So a couple of other things that have sprung to my mind. We talked about you know, drum machines becoming kind of iconic pieces of equipment. When you think about it, we've had album names that contain the names of drum machines. We've got artists whose, you know, kind of stage names like DMX, and Kanye West is 808, 808, and 808 State. You know, they have the names of drum machines. Just the very names of these things have become iconic in the culture of music. Is that something you explore in the book?
Yeah, definitely. I think the sort of reverence that some of these machines have these days is sort of, but it's tied to the music that they made, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's only because 808 became the cornerstone of hip hop that it became cool, and then, I mean, Adidas have 808 branded trainers. I mean, it's
yeah, absolutely. Imagine that. I mean, they've gone crazy with that kind of, that whole branding has just eked out of the system, and everybody knows that when you see red, orange, and yellow, it's generally going to be an 808 reference or something along those lines, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Behringer picked that up. But one interesting story, there are actually a lot of those stories, Robin, that Ollie has collected. But I think one interesting story was also an album that said 808 beats, but it's made with a DMX, or it's so there are these things where just because it is like fashionable or it sounds cool, people use it.
I think it helped that the DMX has got X in it because that sounds cool, doesn't it?
That does, yeah.
So we've got DMX Crew, the rapper DMX, who did a backronym. What was it? Darkman X, I think his backronym bit too, is it? I can't quite remember if that's right. But yeah, and then 808 State, and then they had a song called 606 as well. So yeah,
but they do permeate the culture a lot more than any other.
Yeah, so I think that's I think we like electronic music because it's futuristic, and you kind of want to celebrate that aspect of its futurism. And some of these words, like Jupiter, and they have a kind of aura around them after a while because they represent that sense of the future. Especially when we were growing up in the 80s, it really was. That was the cutting edge, and you were hearing things that were never heard before. So when the LM1 came along and did real drum sounds, blew everyone's mind.
And another thing we touched on was circuit bending and people modifying their drum machines, and they do that more with drum machines than they do with regular synthesizers. You're always seeing circuit bent drum machines, whether it's a crappy little drum machine that's been made to sound really kind of cool, or even a popular drum machine that has just had extra features added to it because somebody has come up with a way of tinkering with the internals. That seems to be quite a popular trend as well.
Yeah, we were discussing that before, weren't we? It seems a shame sometimes because we do revere these beautiful things and get all the silly switches sticking out the top. You're like, why have you ruined this beautiful? Oh no, it's a musical instrument. It's for making sounds with, but it still looks terrible. It's hard to square one's thoughts about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we were saying generally, if you're going to mod it, do it inside, so we'd have to see it on the outside.
Do it internal stuff. Yeah, with just a subtle little switch or a button on the side or something. Ken,
I toyed with.
Go
doing
ahead.
the HR16. Sorry, I toyed with when I got hold of this. I toyed with circuit bending because there's a kit that you can. It just slathers it with all kind of. I don't know what it was. Look.
I think people saw that, and there's an opportunity.
How could you do anything to this? So I left it, and I think the chips are the only thing I'll do with that because it's such a, amazing piece.
But isn't the Alesis, is it the SR16 is like the longest running production run of a drum machine in history?
Yeah, absolutely. And it just talking about having a realistic drum sound. I think that was probably the first affordable drum machine that gave you that. For under 200 quid, or was it 150 quid or something? They were when they were originally launched. They were really affordable.
Yeah,
and that those sounds were so, they had the warmth to them which the Roland DR550 and DR660 just didn't have. Even some of the Yamahas had a bit of a harshness to it. So I think there was a sweet spot that Alesis found with that drum machine that meant that it could last for it. And of course they use those samples in the racks as well for their electronic drum sound. So I've got the DM5. How many drum things do you have? I mean, come on, in the studio. So those sounds are still there if I ever need that gated snare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or that thwanking kind of like bass drum.
Yeah, when you were doing your research for this book and you came across the the Alesis, that SR16, did you turn up anything interesting as to why it has been such this long production run?
I think it's interesting, because it was designed by Marcus Royal, who designed the DMX.
Of course.
It has that lineage of someone who knows what they were doing and really cared about the musicians who were going to use it. And I think it was aiming to provide a really straightforward rhythm in a box, for gigging musicians, for demo writing. And it's just got some really clever workflow things about how to program the patterns, how to flip between variations, how you can tap a rhythm before the pattern starts to get the tempo you want, and how you can trigger variations. So it's not just the sound, although they're great, and you get 233, which was quite a lot at that time. So you managed to do that price thing, whether it was really good price, really good sounds. There's a very clever thing with the sounds that they did, which they're layered. I don't know if many people know that. There are up to 3 different samples per sound on the SR16, and they were carefully constructed. I can remember now using an HR16 to sort of decide what combinations to like a reverb or a different head to a different shell sound. So it's some really clever stuff under the hood to produce what's quite a straightforward, what seems like a fairly boring drum machine. It's just got some sounds and some programmability, but there's real care, I think, gone into both its sound design and workflow, which clearly struck the right chord with people.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, the SR16, it doesn't really look much. It's one of the most boring drum machines to look at compared to some of the others. Yeah, but when you play it, you understand that it's just got this wealth of really good quality, everyday kind of bread and butter sounds that a lot of people will make use of. It's a very good machine. Right, let's just take another quick short break. Let's play another piece of viewers' music. This one was sent in. I need to actually open up a document here because I didn't get a huge amount of information, so I don't know the person's name. All I know is that they may be called A. Miles. I honestly don't know what their full name is. So if this is you, please speak up and stand up. This is a track that is just simply called Soundscape 2. There you go. I didn't want to spoil it. Because if I'd have introduced it as the end of Lenin, I wanted people to listen to that. So there you go. That's the hand of Lenin there for you. If you want to know what he does, there it is. Just to say what he says here, sorry about the video, not really set up for doing it, but he's got an old copy of Vegas 15, so he just kind of put that together. The track was inspired by listening to Penelope Traps, I think that's how you pronounce her surname, and her album A Requiem. I've had a copy of East West Voices of Passion and Voices of Empire for years on an old PC, and when I moved over to Mac, never transferred it until last week. Decided to source out the license, mainly because I can't sing and wanted some voices. It's a kind of return for him to drone and noise-inspired music by the great Japanese noise artist Masami Akita. The track may be part of a new release in the future. Instruments used on there was Omnisphere 3, NI battery, hence the tight snare there. Melbourne Instruments Nina, Polybrute 12, and Shard Noise Synth from the Eurorack. So there you go. Brilliant stuff. Again, if you want to send in your music, please do. Make sure it's copyright free, that we don't get a strike on it. Please put it to some sort of video content if you can. If you can't, let me know. I can help. We can just put something up just visually. And we'll do
good.
Something else.
I think that video was brilliant.
It
could
doesn't
have
need to
anyone
be
filmed
any
that
more
in
than
anywhere. So it's really and it suited the music really well. Yeah.
Go and find one of those free to use stock sites.
Pixma,
yep.
Pixma.com.
And Pixabay is another one.
Free B-roll.
Yeah, lots of stuff. You just find a couple of those, string them together in a small video editor. That all works for us. There you go. Some great music from our viewers, which we love to hear. That's what it's all about. Right, let's see if we've got any more questions to throw at our guests. Here's a good one. Again, from our question master. I think we should actually just call him question master, Nick Howes. Do Kim and Ollie feel that Roger Lynn needs more credit for his incredible work in drum machine design? What do you think, Ollie? I mean, obviously you've been studying the design of these things deeply.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like because sort of when you sort of explore this world, that he is extremely well recognized, I guess, when you look into it. I suppose, how much wider do we think he should get that recognition? Because obviously he should, having revolutionized the face of music at least twice, if not three times, with various machines. I mean, he was awarded the what's the
technical Grammy,
which is cool. I mean, the guy can't get enough plaudits, really. I think that's entirely reasonable position to take.
Yeah. What do you think, Kim? Does he get the credit he deserves?
I agree on Ollie's perspective. I mean, already in Push Turn Move in 17, we put the drum machines in the book also. And for me, Roger Lynn, it's been about that, the drum machines. And I think, as Ollie says, he's gotten a lot of recognition. And we all stand on the shoulders of the past and on the old guys and girls. Yeah. So I think it's great to have his machines in there. And that Ollie has been talking to him, and I think there's been put a lot of effort in this book into really getting to the sources, and Roger's always welcoming and attentive to details, so that's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's synonymous with drum machines. I mean, I know that obviously he's very much about his instrument now, but even that is in some ways a kind of extension, because it's pad based, it has that grid, so there is some kind of lineage there. But what he did with sample based drum machines, I remember when I spoke to him, I was very fortunate enough to be a guest on Sonic State when he was on there, and I asked him about using samples in drum machines, and was he inspired by what people were doing, like with Fairlight, and he said, I had no idea who Fairlight were or what they were doing. I was just doing my own thing. So, thousands of miles apart, doing completely different things, and two instruments that then became really kind of synonymous with pop music for many years to follow. So, I think
two interesting things that perspectives, because one, as you say, he wasn't trying to copy Fairlight. He was solving a problem he had as a songwriter, needing to do drums in his back room as much as anything else. And then I think when he did start designing instruments for people, his focus is always on the musician and the music they want to be able to write with the machine, not I'm just going to build a box that does some beats. It's like, what's a musician trying to... There's a famous anecdote where he demoed an early incarnation of the system to Stevie Wonder at that time, I think it was using a CR78 rather than the sample-based thing, and it had a screen, and it was like, oh, but user interface fail off the bat, that doesn't work. So he was always observing and learning from how people interacted with what he was building, and I think that's always been his focus, isn't it? All those new things, and the Lin 9000 with pressure sensitive pads and the hi-hat, dynamic slide, all of this stuff is about how do musicians want to create dynamic music with the boxes. So
he's a significant contributor. I did ask Kent and Jason to bring along their favorite drum machines. We've obviously seen the Alesis. You had another one there, didn't you, Jason?
Oh, well, yeah, I've got my DR55, which is, as you can see, non-classic knobs, and actually I repaired those. These are replaced from another, actually it's a DR55 clone. I can't remember, the Sound Master or something it was called. So I butchered that to fix that one. Right. But yeah, probably my drum machine I use the most is the Circuit Rhythm. And the greats, it's just, it is about the equipment that you gel with, and it is about the kit that you continue to use. And I always go back to that one. But yeah, HR16, will get a chip update at some point. Yeah. I'm not quite sure which chip to buy first. Where do I start? But absolutely. Yeah, that doesn't get used as much as it needs to, really, I don't think either. It's MIDI. You see, that's the problem.
Absolutely. Ken, did you manage to get in the loft?
I did open the door, and it's about the same temperature as the surface of the sun up there.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but that's where he keeps his SR95.
Yeah. I've got my DR55 is in there, but I fear that if I pulled it out, everything else would come down as well. so everybody knows what a DR55 looks like. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Didn't you have a TR55 with the metal bar?
Yeah.
What else? So that was definitely an organ top machine, wasn't it? That one?
Yeah. So out in the shed, I got the CR78. The rest of them just belong to customers and abandoned ware. So of course, my current ones, which are the TR8 that I bought a week before the TR8S come out. Roland. The drum log and the Yamaha finger drum.
Yes.
Which is quite interesting. It's I think quirky is the word we'll put on that drum machine without being offensive.
Yeah.
So the rest of the time, when it comes to drums, I'm very much the sample-based man.
Yes.
I have my drum libraries now.
Well, I don't have as many drum machines as I would like to have. I think I was saying to Ollie before we came in there, I think that's going to be my focus next is to stop buying keyboards for a while and buy drum machines. But I do have two or three.
Space for keyboards. Look at you.
Exactly. That's why I need to buy drum machines. So
stupid things with keys on. See.
I don't think they've made enough drum machines yet to satisfy you, Rob.
True. So when I was in a band in the 80s, we went to do a demo and they didn't have enough room to put my drum kit in. So the guy that was producing us just chucked me a Korg DDD5 and said, just program all your stuff into there and we'll play that in. So I'm trying to program this thing, and it was kind of like a baptism of fire to try and program it and sound as human as possible. So all the fills were all different and everything sound. But that's kind of how I cut my teeth. And then that band that I was playing with approached me. I was doing DJ work, and I knew this guy from school. And he said, "We want a drummer, because at the moment we have a drum machine, and it was this." The Casio RZ1.
Oh, the RZ1, yeah.
So I replaced this.
That's chunky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very 909 in its sound. Yeah, because you have the samples, you have 4 user samples.
Yeah.
But it has a kind of a 909 feel, but it had a full mixer, a very small screen. But it was very editable. And once I'd replaced this in the band, I convinced the guy who owned it to let me hang on to it for a while. I just fell in love with it. This, by the way, isn't that model. This one, I have to say, this is Peter James Stevens, who let me borrow it, and I haven't given it back, and he's not getting it back.
Is it the same sample engine as the FZ1? It's the same era, isn't it?
Yeah, there's probably something there. I don't know.
Yeah,
Ollie, do you know that?
I love that era for Casio.
It was a great era, wasn't it?
They suddenly went professional for a few glorious years, didn't they? And then they sort of, we'll just go back to home keyboards. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. The other...
Such good watches, though, right?
I picked up much later on, and I still think is one of the best, is that beast, which is the RX-5.
Oh, that's right.
Which was the flagship one, which has the reverse functions, and it's just
individual outputs. That's what got me about that.
Yeah, so much on the back going on there. Plus, you had the cartridges, and you could expand it. And so I've got an RX-5. I've also got the RX-11, which is just out of shot, which was the first flagship drum machine, which was kind of very crunchy, very nice thing. But we also mentioned the Mattel Sonics, which I think I showed last week, which is just brilliant. I mean, it's not so much a programmable drum machine. It did have a record feature on there. I've never been able to work out how to get it to actually do something.
I was looking at the manual for that yesterday, and it's under the cymbals buttons. You've got 3 16-beat recordable things, in theory, anyway.
It's very strange. It's,
you could trigger each drum pad. You could different combinations of 3 buttons will do like a rock beat, a waltz, or a 4-beat, and and you can mix and match them across the different sounds.
I do have the manual for this somewhere. I'll have to check it out.
So you have to stand on your head and hold the 3 buttons while turning it on.
Yeah. Now this one, again, Yamaha. I'm sorry, but there you go. The DD10. It tells you on the front. There you go. It tells you what it is on the front. You think these are kind of clacky, but they're not. There's some sort of rubber underneath. They're not clicky clacky stuff. They feel quite nice. But what I really like about this, although it has a lot of presets in here, and it has built-in speakers, which I think puts a lot of people off, it also has MIDI in.
MIDI.
So all of a sudden it becomes a very useful machine. And best of all, if you are rocking a DX100 with a shoulder strap, it's got a shoulder strap there as well.
I've
got the strap. I've got the strap, and it's got Yamaha in that green. Yeah, it's cool stuff. I know.
Yeah.
I won't get the Dynacord perk stick weird thing. You get your DD10 on.
Yeah, perk stick.
We'll form a band. We'll rule the world. Exactly. But if I'm going to choose a modern drum machine, that is one of my favourites, the Drum Brute Impact from Arturia. I was going to get the original Drum Brute, and then I found that they don't make it anymore, so I just went for the Impact instead. Polyrhythms. It's got these buttons that you can do 30 seconds and 16ths and 8ths just by tapping on them. You just get it's got a brilliant sort of distortion filter in there. It's got FM on it as well. That is a brilliant drum machine. But yeah, there's some of my favourites, until of course I get a Lindrum at some point in my life when I sell a kidney.
I think you say, after saying about the Arturia one, is that other drum machines are available.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Just to keep it,
Yeah. And also, because I will be building the collection, I think. 707 is the next one. That's the one I really, really do want. Because the 808 and 909 are very passe. They're so last century.
Have I got a 707 here?
I don't know. Have you got a 707 there?
We'll have to have a look.
Have a look.
I'll have a look.
I really do.
One here.
I really do. I want one. There might be one here. Classic sound. The 707 has a sound a bit like the Lin has a sound. You can tell it anywhere it's being used. Like Madonna, it was very, or Madonna's producers were very.
To answer the question you were going to ask me.
Go on.
The one mod that I get asked to do the most is to put individual instrument outs on the TR606.
Oh, really?
Yeah, more than any other mod. Yeah, more than any other mod.
And add a clap.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking drum machines and what we are doing here on YouTube, are you guys aware of Controlled Voltage? What's the name of it? Controlled Voltage Sound Labs on YouTube. Because if you're not, you really ought to be. I just this is the perfect show for me to big this channel up. I have no connection with him. I don't know the guy. I wish I did, because he's very good. So this is a brilliant YouTube channel called Controlled Voltage Sound Labs, and he's made about about 25 videos so far. Probably 25, where he recreates the drum tracks from some amazing, kind of certainly my era songs. So, we've got things like Aha, Cameo, Wham, Tears for Fears, Dead or Alive, Madonna, Billy Idol, Stevie Nicks, Run DMC, Soul to Soul, Phil Collins, Fine Young Cannibals. And he will take you through, he'll have the actual hardware there, and he'll take you through the patterns and how to do it. And if you want to recreate them by yourself, you can just use, the pause button and start copying the stuff. And it's just great to hear the drum machines, and he also tries to get the effects the same as those that were used on the recording, so it doesn't sound just dry, because as we know, these things were all processed at some point. But it's very good. If you're into drum machines and how they were used on records, this is a brilliant channel to get. So pick up Control Voltage Sound Labs. He also has a Patreon, and the Patreon also features, if you subscribe to him there, you get access to drum samples from the drum machines that he's using in his recordings. So it's a really good Patreon, really good YouTube channel. So I thought I would just big that up whilst we were here. Let's see if we've got any more questions. There was one here from the Wookiee who's asking about the format for sending in music, audio, MP3, WAV, or FLAC. And I think the best response I saw in the chat was vinyl. So send your music in on vinyl. Don't worry, we can play it. Send it through in any digital audio. Yeah, any format will do. If it's
Does
digital,
that include Tolex?
Yeah, we can use wax cylinders.
Yeah, it was good fun.
I mean, send it in.
Just send it in.
Just keep it coming.
Yeah.
Just send it in. Stop looking for excuses. Just do it.
Right, here we go. What's this here? This is from I Sing the Body Electric. Any songs that come to mind that feature drum machine solos? That's an interesting. Are there famous drum machine solos? I mean, certainly in hip hop, there's a lot of kind of breakdowns, isn't there?
I know.
Go on.
It's who's the Furious Five? Oh my God,
Grandmaster Flash.
Grandmaster Flash playing a 1969 Vox Percussion King with the buttons, with the Furious Five rapping over the top.
No way.
That is it's just incredible. The vibe of that. You can dig it out on YouTube. It's really, really cool.
I did not know that.
Not quite a drum solo, but he's playing live drums off an ancient drum machine. Like you're saying, no bad sounds because it's an old thing, but it sounds
yeah. Nick wants to know if any of us know what drum machine was used on True Faith by New Order. I don't know what that is.
Don't even know the song.
I've and found the Sound on Sound article. I think scanning it sounds like an SP12 and samples disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say 707 or something. But, yeah.
Well, I know that on the B-side, the B-side was 1963, wasn't it? And on both of those things, they were using the DX5. So I wonder if maybe they were using DXs or RXs, but they were also into their emulator stuff and EMU thing. I mean, we haven't really spoken about EMU, have we? I mean, they've got a great legacy in drum machines and initially drum pads. Didn't they have that box with the 4 pads?
Yeah.
What was that called?
Yeah.
The thing that came with the SP12. Yes, we've got a picture of it, haven't we, Kim? I can't remember what it's specifically called. I was going to make a joke about, we should probably include EMU, shouldn't we? But no, don't worry.
Can't, because he's not here.
SP12, SP1200, obviously both of those, particularly the 1200, iconic rhythm machines, but again, taken to a new level, a bit like the MPC, when people just, say, well, we can sample other things in here and not just be a
and again, another example of quite a long running machine. I know they sort of paused production but had to bring it back through demand from the the producer community. We're like, we need the sound, you can't stop making it. And I think it went up to about 98, and then recently there was the sort of 30th anniversary version. So I'm sure you all know it hasn't got anti-aliasing filters sort of formally. You choose your outputs to get different levels of post-sample filtering, which gives it its 12-bit grit that did it.
And of course, we mustn't forget Brad Holland and Isla Electronics, the SP20, the SP2400, which is an SP1200 on steroids and then some. It's an amazing machine. I mean, let's talk about we've got a few minutes left. Modern day drum machines, obviously, the history is long and it's rich, but are we seeing the same levels of innovation in drum machine technology, or have we kind of plateaued with that thing? I mean, you look at the TR-1000 and it's more than just a drum machine. It's got analog synth engines in there, and you can do all sorts of things. Have we kind of plateaued, or are we still seeing? Because Superbooth, as Kim says, I mean, what were the the new drum machines that stood out for you, Kim? Do you remember any in particular?
Well, interface wise and just pure, awesomeness was the Polyend drum machine.
Very excited to see that.
Yeah, but I think also I definitely think there's innovation going on. Like again. Like we see things like the Soma Pulsar thing.
I love that.
Obviously, it's a bit back, and also the Perkins.
Oh yes.
And now with the new one, they did the hex drums. There are new takes on it, which I think is great. And so I think that's inspiring actually, that we can still not just go for the samples, but actually many more sound shaping options. I think actually. So I think really the drum synth has come into play again.
Yes.
With the more very advanced sequences.
And modular has a role to play as well, because we've
didn't think I'd hear you say that.
Oh, are we
I
going
was literally
to
just going to say that. I was just going to say
does.
modular drums, and you said it. It's like,
I know.
Wow.
Stranger things have happened.
so weird. So weird.
But not today.
But I mean, we're seeing some really innovative designs in modular drums, not just modules that just make sounds, but the way that those sounds are triggered, and through polyrhythms and probability and all this kind of stuff. Because that's the perfect environment.
The sequence
to
is
do that.
available as well. That's a big part of the drum machine, right? It's not just the sound. It's how it's sequenced, and then how you interface with that. I mean, that's why I think it's different to a synthesizer, and that's why perhaps it appeals more wide. Songwriters' drum machines, organists' drum machines, maybe. But I think with modular, you really do take the lid off it, and you're able to do things that you wouldn't think of anywhere else. Because you can, so you should.
The shackles are off, aren't they, with that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ollie, what do you think about the future of drum machines? Where we see them now and where we see them in the future, maybe?
I think it's all about just getting away from the screen, isn't it? We're all talking about hardware, and it's the interaction of a human with a box that offers you different options, and how you interact with it, and how that feedback loop of person and machine kind of creates the music that you want. So. That's my best answer to that one.
I mean, dare I mention the awful phrase that everyone is kind of afraid to mention with new technologies such as artificial intelligence?
Oh, God,
do we? Drum machines were always kind of perceived by many as the press a button and let it go and do its own thing. Can we maybe expect in the future drum machines that think like a human drummer and therefore play like a human drummer, that give us that not necessarily the randomness, but they understand what else is being played and play to it intelligently? Could you see something like that being a thing? Playing devil's advocate.
You stunned us all into silence with this.
I know. It's the power of AI, isn't it?
It's the topic, isn't it?
We're not allowed to swear on this, are we?
No, preferably not.
So I can't answer that question.
No, I'm just saying, could you see it happening? I mean,
I don't want to admit that sounds like quite a useful thing, because I'm trying to not allow the problem to take over what's a very human activity, I suppose.
But do you remember the Roland R8? It was called the Human. It had
Human Rhythm Composer.
Human Rhythm Composer.
Yeah. Ages.
So even back then, there were attempts at humanizing what was perceived as quite a mechanical thing. I mean, obviously, people that can program drum machines well program humanity.
What it meant was it synced badly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to make
I didn't enjoy it.
making virtual limitations, like it was really limited, and they had to sort of try and do clever things with randomization or pseudo-random to make it better. Whereas if you could just say, "Oh, play anything." That there's no limitation there. It's just it's just kind of well, you can do anything now, and that's sort of less of an interesting question, perhaps.
Yeah. Let's see if we've managed to crack at least through almost the £39,000 mark. Or I mean,
refresh.
I think I just did. Let me just double check. It has
gone up another £200, I think.
Yeah.
Come on.
So we're getting there. So
nice.
Hopefully that's all down to people watching the show.
£39 short.
But Steve has just
And if
posted
you're
the
just
link
tuning
in the chat. Yeah.
Jump on
Somebody pledged just one copy right now. Let's get it to 30. At least get it to
That's it.
39.
Come on, that'd be
some kind of
great, wouldn't it?
milestone.
Brilliant.
We've got about 7 minutes left. I just very quickly want to mention that we lost another great in the music business, Jack Hotop, who was known massively for his work with Korg. So if you've played a Korg synthesizer for the last 30 odd, maybe 40 years, Jack was their senior voicing manager over there, and he sadly lost his battle with cancer and he's passed away. But I mean, look at the, from the M1 onwards, essentially. He was a massive part of the voicing team of so many of the Korg synthesizers. He was part of kind of a collective over there in the US that were voicing amazing instruments of the day. So really, really sad to hear of his passing. And if you want this, this web page is on the MIDI Association website. I'll put the link in the chat, and you can go and have a read of the amazing man that we've lost there. But condolences to Jack's family and friends. He will be missed indeed, but he will live on in all of those amazing instruments. I mean, just play any of those Korg instruments, whether it's hardware or software, and you'll be hearing Jack in there as well. We were going to talk about this. Probably we'll talk about this next week. This is the news that Arturia have released their version of the Moog Memory Moog. It's called Memory V. It's very interesting. I want to get Kent's thoughts on this at some point, but we're clean out of time, so we'll probably cover that next week. And I think that was pretty much all there was news-wise. Again, we are in this kind of there we go. We're kind of in this post-Super Booth lull. Yeah, where are we? So everything kind of has gone a little quiet. But we'll cover that maybe next week. So we've got about 5 minutes left before we have to wrap up. Gentlemen, the very best of luck with this book. It's going to be brilliant. I know, because you're both involved. It couldn't be anything otherwise. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to this, given that I have a real crush on drum machines. This will sate my appetite somewhat, but it will also increase my shopping list, I'm sure. As I read the amazing stories. When do you think, Kim, that we will see this in bookstores, on bookshelves? When are those of us that pledged, when are you expecting to get it out to us?
It's coming out in October, actually.
Okay.
And
Yes.
we'll
Happy
probably
birthday.
be at Synth Fest. Yeah.
Excellent.
And we'll probably be at Synth
Nice.
Fest, where UK backers can maybe pick it up or get it signed. Ollie will probably be there. Obviously, it's in the UK. It is the last day of ADE, so we'll see if I can jump from Amsterdam to Sheffield and if we can make everything work. But that's the goal. Maybe in otherwise a year it might be even printed and done by 909 Day. But we also need to get copies to the US and be fair to all backers to get them around the same time. So we'll see how things plan out. But that is the plan right now, mid-October.
Brilliant. And Ollie, we will see you at Synthfest, I'm sure. You don't need a passport for that one.
God, don't. I mean, we'll see how it goes. You never know.
It's the north. Yeah, you might need to get into Yorkshire.
Did you just? That's an awful northern accent.
I know. If you want to learn more about Bjooks and their wonderful publications, go to Bjooks.com. And there's some brilliant publications there. I mean, the Mini Moog book is fantastic. Synth Gems 1 is a cracker. I love the Inspire the Music book. And of course, the patch and tweaks, the push turn moves.
Oh my God.
And I know that some of these are out of stock at the moment, but as Kim said, if they can get orders in, that will speed up the process. But I know that because I was asking for a couple of friends, I know that things will hopefully get better with the availability of some of these. But please do go and buy these books. And of course, you can then go and back Beat Gems over on Kickstarter by visiting this site here, the link for which I'm sure has been thrown up loads of times in the chat, but I'm going to throw it up there again like that. Go and pledge and get a copy of this book, and you never know, you might be able to get it signed at Synthfest UK on October 24th, which we will be there with our stand. I'm not quite sure what we're going to have on the stand, but it'll be fun, and we're looking forward to that. And I just found out today that Cabaret Voltaire are playing their very, very, very ever last gig in the hometown of Sheffield on the Sunday, and I go home on the Sunday, so I'm sort of trying to think,
you're gonna miss
can
it.
I stick around? We saw them in February in Norwich, but it would be
you
nice
did
to see
too.
the last ever Cabs gig in their hometown of Sheffield. But come along for that one. So there we go. That's a show.
Awesome.
Kim, Ollie, as always with you, Kim, it's a pleasure, and it's just an absolute joy to have you on, Ollie. Please do come back again soon, even if it's not to talk about drum machines, to talk about anything, because you are a very learned and storied man, and we enjoy your work a lot. And thanks for coming to Synth Southwest as well and having us stand there. I hope that was good. It was great to see you there. Thanks for supporting.
Mike came on, didn't he? That was great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, Mike flew in from Colorado. I mean, the mayor of Dawlish was absolutely gobsmacked. He said, he's flown in from Colorado. I've got to meet this man. And we said, yeah, but it's Mike. But it was great to have him there. Great to hear him play and perform. Oh, and talking of which, if you want to go and see the performances from Synth Southwest, there's one big long performance video that you can go and watch. But I've had a lot of requests for cutting them up into smaller bite-sized pieces, and I've made a start on that finally. You can watch Steve Davis and Gaz Williams with their visuals by the lovely Fiona, aka Sloon. That entire set has now been chopped out and stuck on the channel. You can go and watch that there. And we've also put up our Super Booth 2026 walkabout video. I believe most of that was shot when I was having a long conversation with Kim. But Peter went around and filmed as much as he could. And he's edited that video. We've thrown that up on the website. There's no need to worry about being behind a paywall. You don't need to be a member of Patreon to see these. These are all free of charge. So just go along to the channel and go and watch those. We've also got our interviews with the guys from Sonicware. That was of course Chris Dodsworth, aka Chris Lodi, for the Sonicware Deconstruct Minimal, and then we spoke to Christopher and Thomas about the Expressive E Osmo CE. So all of those goodies are available on the channel right now. Gentlemen, thank you very much. To Jason and of course to Kent, thank you for joining. To Kim and Ollie once more, thank you very much indeed. Thank you also, sending our best to Andy and who's that other guy? Scott, that's the one. I know Andy's got some friends who are in need of attention. I think Scott is probably 9 sheets to the wind, bless him. But hopefully they'll be back next week. So fingers crossed. We will see you same time, same place next week. Make lots of music. Go and watch all the other channels. Go and watch Jason on his channel. When's that? Sunday?
With cats.
9:30?
Sunday and Wednesday.
The next one's Sunday, yeah.
Sunday, yep.
Cool stuff.
Yep.
Loads of stuff to see. So go and partake of that. And we will see you in a week's time. Have a great weekend. Don't get too hot. Make lots of music. See you all soon, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Cheers,
Well, thanks all.